And we are live!
We made it!
Hello,
Yeah.
everybody!
The four of us.
Hello.
Four of us, the whole crew is back together again. Christian has returned
Two.
from his majestic journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what did we guys think of
Fantastical
E3?
Voyage.
Yeah,
That up.
fantastic voyage.
Thank you.
So,
I thought E3 was great. I thought it was really good.
Mhm.
And I'll be honest, I'm someone who doesn't really pay all that much attention to E3s
Mhm.
in general. I was usually one of those people who'd wait till the next day or later that day and see a YouTube video on Reddit or an article. But it was really exciting to be a part of it and go out of my way to watch the press events. It was really cool.
yeah.
And I'm excited to talk about it with you guys today.
As am I.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait to delve into the dirt of things and Christian's comments.
Yeah.
Christian's comments specifically. All right, I
Yes.
guess something happened.
I love Christian's comments.
Comments.
Because I
Oh, you want
especially
to know?
want to hear.
Okay.
I especially want to hear what he thinks, what he truly thinks after seeing the gameplay of Fallout 76.
Well, speaking of gameplay
Yeah.
of Fallout
Keeping all
76,
that
that
inside.
brings us. We're gonna do this show. We're gonna go through all the press conferences, give our thoughts, picks on favorite game of the show. So let's just hop right into it. Speaking of Fallout 76, let's start right off with the Bethesda games conference.
Who wants to start? Christian, you've been away for a while, so why don't we hear from you? That exacerbated sigh must mean something.
It does. It means that Rage 2 is still exactly the game I think it is. And I think they're just, tacitly acknowledging, hey, it's Borderlands 3, but not. You should totally think about that when you play this game. And I was hoping they would try to be make it any different in any way, but no. The marketing's exactly the same. They're using the same kind of music. It's the same kind of combat.
But is that a bad thing though? Borderlands is a really
It's not.
fun game.
That's the thing. It's not. And Borderlands 3 was not there. So, what you gonna do?
Which I was kind of bummed about. But that doesn't have much to do with Bethesda.
Yeah.
I will say that Rage, when they start off with Rage, I'm really honest. I never really played the first Rage. Didn't really care all too much about it. And then seeing this, I was like, yeah, I don't really care about it even now. But watching that gameplay, it did look fun. It did pique my interest a little bit.
I actually personally had the opposite reaction. I thought they did pretty well on differentiating themselves from Borderlands. Obviously, it's post-apocalyptic and everything, but I think they even went out of the way to showcase some of the similarities that they showed from the original trailer that was leaked. Thanks, Canada. They were showing some of the quirky and funniness that reminded a lot of people, including yourself, of Borderlands with the guy with the shotgun on his head spinning around in circles. But that honestly, they showed that was actually just one faction, and it's one faction of people that you interact with in the game that are the crazy out there kind of people, and that's not everyone. The entire world isn't Borderlands-esque. There's that one little faction that does it. I forget their name, the Jokers or something like that. But I thought the gunplay looked really fun and extremely fast-paced. I thought the weaponry looked awesome. Those kind of weapons that you showed with the different kind of grenade explosions, and I thought those were pretty unique. Which I think this day and age is pretty hard to do, to create unique weapons and abilities and stuff. Yeah, I didn't think it was that close to a Borderlands comp at all, to be honest.
I will say.
Oh, sorry.
I just want I've seen some footage of vehicle stuff, and I was more interested in vehicle stuff than just guns and all that jazz. Because I know they're gonna get that right. What are you gonna do different that's fun?
Yeah. And I did kind of get a Borderlands vibe from it, but it did feel a little bit removed enough where it did seem like its own game, but like maybe inspired by Borderlands.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
yeah, but I'm surprised by how much time we've dedicated to Rage too. What else from Bethesda have you guys
More than
are you excited
necessary.
about? Yeah, I'm just surprised. I mean, a lot of things happened at Bethesda, and we're running short on time already. What do you guys? What else happened?
Oh, quick thing, because I don't want to talk about this for any longer than is necessary. Fallout 6 ain't happening this year. Move on.
Fallout 6
I'll
or
see
Elder Scrolls 6?
Elder Scrolls 6. I'll see you in 3 to 4 years when they have
But
actual footage.
it is happening.
Oh yeah, it's you know what else is happening? The Earth rotates around the sun, and the moon rotates around the Earth.
Well,
Which is
not
also
according
very
to flat
exciting,
Earth
'cause that-
people.
No, yeah.
I was going to
Alright.
write off
Ball.
the coattails of Fast Paced and Quake Champions. Very fun
Quake
game.
Champions.
Paul
Yeah,
and I have
playing
been
that
playing it a
recently.
lot, and right now it's download the game and play it for this week. You get to play it for free for a long time to come. I think until it releases, Paul.
Yeah, if
Is that right?
there's a open session, anybody can play for the next week. But if you download it now, you get to keep it, and that open session will last for you all the way up until the game releases. So Devin and I have been playing it. It's actually a very fun game. I used to play
is.
Quake all the time as a kid, and it's just bringing me right back. It's really good.
Yes.
But I'm just gonna bring it up because nobody has. Fallout 76 is happening, and I'm really stoked about that.
Yeah, I thought for sure when they first showed off the Fallout 76 that they did the press conference at Microsoft, and that's where they first showcased the trailer. It was a big surprise to a lot of people. So typically speaking with MMOs or just massively multiplayer online games in general, you have a lot of these you pare down the graphics a lot. And I think I remember telling Paul, just based off of how well polished the graphics looked, I did not think, I thought it was all fake rumors, fake news. It's not going to be a live action, an online Fallout. And when he said, and by the way, this is all going to be online, I was completely blown away. I mean, even look at Elder Scrolls Online, graphically, that game is lower res, lower poly than Skyrim, and Skyrim came out 3 or 4 years prior to that. And this just looks like I'm playing Fallout 4 online with friends.
But yeah, I was gonna say it's like, to me it looks like Fallout 4.5. Like they took, which was already like a good game and a great engine, and they just added some stuff. You know, like one of the big things that stood out for me was the new armor, because none of that was in Fallout 4. They added a lot of new weaponry, which I thought was also pretty cool. They added new enemies, which I thought was really cool. My only reservations about Fallout 76 will be exactly how does the combat work? Is there going to be resistances? Is there going to be perks? Is there going to be any type of VAT system?
They did go on the record and say there is going to be a VAT system, but they weren't ready to unveil exactly how that VAT system is going to work.
How it works.
Yeah, because it can't be the way it is now. It just
you can't pause the action. I think it might be some sort of. I think it might give some sort of aim assist. It might go into it there. That's my guess.
76? Soldier 76. That's where they get inspired from.
Yeah, or the
just get the
Philadelphia 76ers.
That too.
Any of those extremely popular things. But I really want to see how missions are going to work. Is there questing? You know, because for me personally, the least interesting thing was probably one of the most exciting things, which was the whole camp system, which is hey, we brought back settlements, but we made them smaller and less tedious. And that's the whole camp system.
I just hope it's not too similar to Rust, where if I were to log off, my character is just laying on the ground, and anybody can come up to me while I'm sleeping and not logged in and destroy my stuff. That would be real crappy. I don't think it's that sort of game. I hope it doesn't do that, but we'll see.
That would definitely suck. And you won't. The thing is, you won't have to worry about in Rust how everyone just makes C4 and blow up people's bases.
Yeah,
you'll have to log in and hope to God that someone didn't get nuke codes in the area that you decided to post your base in. That would be awful.
Hey, thought. What if the vault is actually the social space, and that's where you'd save and do things, and then when you leave the vault, the game starts.
Maybe.
I think they did make a point at one time that they hit on the fact, is this going to be a hardcore survival game? I guess referencing something like Ark or Rust or Conan Exiles, and he says this isn't going to be as hardcore. It's going to be softcore, is what it's.
Which I'm okay with.
Which is
sometimes I'm in a softcore mood, you know?
Yeah, but sometimes, but also they have the ability to play the game as a single player. You don't need to be on a
That's
team.
important.
You don't, and you can play offline, if my understanding is correct, of the game as well. So you don't just need to play online, which is, I think, a very smart thing to do.
Definitely.
I hope they keep the crafting system. Probably the last thing I want to say about that.
I would like to add that we're all going to be savages. No one is safe.
Christian.
It's kill on sight, loot them, get out of there. And the
When that game goes on sale, sure. I'll get
depending
it for
on how. What? Come on. Come on. You can't leave your boys hanging like that.
It's going to be like whatever you want to say, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 stars, 2 thumbs up, doesn't matter. But I'm just not going to get it at launch.
What? You're not going to get... All right, we'll talk about that later. Let's
That's a whole...
That's a
whole other...
run out of time. I'm not even going to get into that right now. Let's move on to the next press conference that we want to talk about.
Wait. We didn't touch on the biggest thing, arguably, to come out of Bethesda. Elder Scrolls.
No, we talked about it at the top.
We
did, but we barely. Can we just
happening. Moving on. No.
We need. No. I'm gonna go on the record. Y'all heard it here first. That game is coming out. That game is gonna be fully demoed next year and released next year.
Sure, it is.
I will say they very seldom showcase or announce a game that is not close to completion.
Sure.
They haven't.
You're right. That does happen. You are right.
And the CEO has gone on record and he says he doesn't like to announce games super far out. But I just want to take a moment to appreciate the Gravios of the way that he has a delivery. It's almost like Steve Jobsian, where I believe the other game he announced was Starfall.
I think something like that.
Starfall,
which I'm really interested in. I want to know more about that.
And the way that he specifically worded it. So when going into that reveal, he was like, "Oh, and we have another game to reveal after 76. It's a single player RPG," and everyone is, "Oh my god, this is Elder Scrolls. It's Elder Scrolls. It's finally happening." And then he goes, "And it's our first new IP." And it was, "Oh, okay." And then after it plays, he goes, "Oh yeah, and here's also that thing you're really waiting for me to announce." Boom. And the shot going over the mountains.
Which, by the way,
Skyrim
literally
music
nothing. Nothing. It was nothing.
It
served its purpose. It served its purpose.
It did.
It was nothing, but it was enough
it was catnip
to get you
like
out of your seat and scream. That place went batshit crazy.
If we were there, we all would have lost our minds.
Yeah.
True.
I wasn't there and I lost my mind.
Yeah, we were all together. It was like, oh man.
Yep.
Well,
I was being pretentious in another room. It's okay.
Yeah, there you go. Well, shout out to what's his name, Todd Howard.
Yeah, Todd Howard. That's his name.
And his excellent delivery skills, and to ESO. I feel like we didn't give them enough credit. I'm really happy for the success that they've had.
Yeah, same. The MMO market definitely needs competition. WoW can't dominate everything, and I'm glad that ESO is doing well, and I'm glad that Final Fantasy 14 is doing well. Just to go off on that little tangent.
And they're chasing story content too, because they preview the dungeon expansion and another story expansion, because they're adding Black Marsh. It's kind of cool.
I wish we could say the same for WildStar, but what can you do? All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's go to Ubisoft. And who wants to mention anything first?
I mean, why don't you start it?
Oh, can
me?
Please?
Well, anyone.
Yeah, I was about to.
God.
Division 2 looks good.
Division 2 does look good.
It does look good. I'm aware that last time in the trailer for the first game, they downgraded the graphics from the E3 showing for that game. But I'm confident they won't do this time around.
Okay.
And even though I was burned before, they had me. They got me. I liked what I saw. I saw that they added body armor for the players, which is a welcome change, because in the first division you can just get chunked by a lot of mobs, and all you have is health. If you don't have a lot of stamina, then you just fall flat. And I'm excited to see more. I'm excited to see all the new raids and just the new content. And
we'll see how it
goes. Raids, plural.
Enjoy
they had
raid.
Raids.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
They will have raids. I mean, they have raids in Destiny 1.
They will. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have them in the Division 2, but
yeah. So
I want to see the first one. I'm
cautiously excited.
Yeah.
I just. And that's all I'd say about that.
I will say. Oh, sorry. Go on, Paul.
That's it. I enjoy the Division. I'm excited for the Division 2 as well.
I want to say I think we all during our E3 superlatives last week picked Ubisoft to be the most cringeworthy, and it always usually is, except for Christian. They usually usually a cringe fest as soon as they start demoing Just Dance, and I want to say this year I feel like they actually took lessons away from previous things, and they didn't just have a DJ just play a music track or Jason Derulo on stage trying to get people to get up and dance. They had a movie that was pre-taped outside like that day with the dancers and a panda in a marching band suit outfit, and he came in. And not only did he march into the video transitioned from him being in the hallway to running right down the aisles, but also he came in with other dancers and a full-blown marching band. And they were playing live music on trumpets and saxophones, and then they were doing like almost like Pitch Perfect style mashups of the different songs, and you actually saw people, clapping along and bouncing their heads. They actually seemed somewhat into it, which was a nice change. So I give them kudos to them.
Positive.
They did a good job, but I hate Just Dance, so no amount of fun is gonna let me be like, yeah!
Paul there is fun, and there is.
I'm with you guys. Shrug, but happy.
Yeah,
I'm excited that For Honor is getting more content. LOL.
I love that they kept saying, "Oh, if you could download the game for free right now, the basic version, the very basic version." I think they should have made the entire game free to play.
Yeah, should have done that.
And then also, Paul, I believe I was watching the conference with you. Over Discord, they 100% had plants in that audience.
Oh yeah, you kept on saying
it was like so blatantly obvious.
Come on.
Like literally at one point. I'm sorry. Was it? I completely forget what it was. But they were plants, and they were 100%. And I'll give a specific example once we get to the Microsoft press conference of their blatant plants in the audience as well.
I'd do the same thing, to be honest.
What,
how about Anthem, though?
I mean, come on.
Anthem?
Anthem's EA.
Yeah, we're talking about Ubisoft.
Yeah. Oh, I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
JK.
Gotcha.
Hey. We'll get to Anthem.
Totally got you. What I said was, how about that Assassin's Creed?
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to take the whole series in a new direction after relaunching it, which is like, so you did that once, and now you're going to do it again? Because I feel like they're just letting go of the old protagonist and being like, you can forget about him, because he's not coming back.
Also, a quick note, if you haven't followed our channel, we'll be doing live shows every Wednesday, so you should do that. Wink, wink, Christian.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to do
You'll see the best follower notification probably ever made.
Drop it.
There it is.
There we go. I just did it.
Smashing Christian.
my god.
That's good.
Smash
I'm
it.
glad I did that live. Moving on. It seems like they're trying to get rid of the part of Assassin's Creed that didn't work for a lot of people, which is the futuristic stuff. And they're just like, let's
It's
downplay that
also-
as much as possible, because
was
that's the
long-winded, too.
convoluted stuff that they just couldn't get to work. So now they're just like, no, you can just make your protagonist, and you're just going to be in ancient Greece, doing ancient Greece stuff. And it's like, all right, Assassin's Creed, God of War.
The one thing that honestly
idea.
actually kind of took me out of it was the fact that they had, and
Plants.
hold on, don't jump out of your seats at me yet. I wasn't a fan of the female protagonist. Not the, hey, I said calm down, sit down, Paul,
You
sit.
said that- I jumped out of my seat.
The reason why I dislike this female protagonist in Assassin's Creed has nothing to do with her being a female or anything like that. I'm very happy they do have a female.
Yes. Moving on. To
The
point.
game is supposed to be almost like alternate history, and you're placing these characters in historical eras and times and trying to make them more or less realistic as possible, at least narratively. And you're having essentially a female Spartan warrior leading troops. Like, that's just
Yes.
not something that would remotely happen back in the day. And I think it would have made a lot more sense narratively and structurally if they would have made that character part of the, I completely am blanking on the name of the Assassin's Creed name, unless it is the Assassin's Creed. But
Christian is ready.
I wasn't a
Christian has
fan.
something to say.
I do. Oh my gosh, what is it? Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Odyssey.
That's the
Yes.
name. Yeah, because Greece. I agree with you. It does make more sense for historical accuracy, but they specifically abandoned having a protagonist because that's the thing people didn't like, was having to go back to the future and learning all of the nonsense regarding him. Whereas
That
now
is good.
you just make a character.
I
Just
also
make a
want
character.
I like that.
make a point to say that in a game where a lot of the premise is based off the fact that it's present day and reliving memories inside your DNA, I think they're allowed to make some creative liberties where it's like, sure, women back in these days were treated equally. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's give and take. The overall story arc makes no sense anyway. And I see what you're saying. Historically,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
make
just
sense.
it takes me out contextually of believing it in a sense. I would have liked if she was like a rebel or
Maybe she
you know.
is. We don't know.
possibly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
I couldn't take her seriously
Maybe they even
given
addressed
what
it because there were societies, even
That is true.
way back when, that absolutely treated people equally. So it's not outside of the realm of reason. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Chances are she would be from a part of the world where they're not equal. But I also think, like I said, in a game where you're reliving memories through DNA,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
creative liberties are allowed to
And-
be taken.
I gotta say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hmm.
Yeah, if they get to feudal Japan, I am definitely making Afro Samurai. Just throwing that out.
Yeah.
They ever get around to that, because I think that's what a lot of people are just waiting
All
for.
right.
It's like,
Yeah.
where's the Japan one? But moving on.
Moving on, let's move
That
on to
would
the
be
next event.
Yeah, what?
Ubisoft. No, I'm sorry, we just did Ubisoft. Square Enix.
Square Enix.
Square
Enix.
Enix.
I
I have nothing to say about this.
honestly-
I do not like Square Enix.
I don't
Yeah.
have any real opinions on Square Enix. I don't find, except for the new Tomb Raiders, I just
Mhm.
don't
Kingdom
really care for
Hearts?
Square Enix.
Um,
Yeah, because they showed Kingdom Hearts all over the place.
yeah.
Yeah, they
So,
did.
so by the time Square Enix got to showing their own game, I was like, okay, we get it. We get it now.
Yeah, we got
I'm
this.
excited
I
for
think
it.
the bigger storylines out of Square Enix wasn't the titles that they actually showed, but it was the titles that they didn't show.
Especially after last year.
Yeah, and actually, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I did call last week in our superlatives episode that that Final Fantasy VII remake would be a no-show. And I was right.
I'm not surprised.
1.5.
Right, because I believe news came out a few months ago that they pretty much scrapped what they were working on because they didn't like how it was turning out,
Because
and I believe they
it's
started
Square
over.
Enix.
Knowledge bomb.
Yeah,
They take-
so they have nothing to show for it right now.
They take 10 years to make a game, and then, yeah, that's, I think, my issue with a lot of the Square titles is like take Final Fantasy for instance. They took so long to make that new Final Fantasy, and they did the same thing. They scrapped it, started over, and you can almost compare it to something like a Rockstar Games or something. It also takes a long time. But then when Rockstar Games, or even Bethesda, when they put out the next Elder Scrolls, when they finally put that game out, you know it's taking a while because they're making it like the best thing you've ever seen. And then I believe the Metacritic score for the new Final Fantasy was like an 8.2. So they took that long to create a game, and it wasn't like a masterpiece. So anytime something's coming out of Square, it's I enjoy their games. I have enjoyed their games in the past. They're some of my favorite games. But I think they do a disservice by announcing titles too early. Kind of opposite of what
Elder
Bethesda
Scrolls
does.
6. Throwing that out there.
It's difficult, yeah. But they announce something and then it doesn't show up for like 7-8 years.
Yeah, my excitement for Final Fantasy VII has definitely gone down the drain because I don't really expect anything special. I believe it's just going to be wildly overhyped just because it's Final Fantasy VII, and that it's not going to be what everyone's making it out to be. And I think also that people need to realize that it's not going to be the same game at all. That they're revamping the combat system and everything. It's not going to be like the old Final Fantasy VII that came on PlayStation. It's not going to have that combat system. And so people are going to be disappointed because they don't pay attention to little details like that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so shall we?
Oh, Just Cause 4 looks like it could be fun.
Oh, I will say that looked actually really fun. I played the third one. Yeah.
Hooray!
But it's Square Enix, and I just am like, there's a developer that I just do not care about. I'm like, all right, if they were to go away, I wouldn't care.
Yep.
No offense.
Well, what killed me in Just Cause.
No offense,
like,
they suck.
No offense, I hate them.
The key to their whole announcement was just like, "Hey, we added tornadoes," and I'm like, "Yes, that is really cool, but like, it's not."
But there's no sharks in them.
Yeah,
It's
that
just-
tornado needed at least.
Like,
Needs at least
it
3
was
sharks.
cool, but it was like, "Yay, you made a physics engine! Congrats!
Hey.
You should write a paper about it." I don't know.
All right. Shall we move along?
Let's move along.
Christian, what's
Hour.
next?
Like I know you.
It's only 2 letters. You can do it.
Yay!
Hey, it is EA.
It took me a little bit. Oh goodness! EA press conference.
Did you not like
I
it?
think
No, it's just I had a lot of thoughts about Anthem.
Yes,
Anthem, I'm excited
that was
for.
what I was about to say.
What?
We need to start
Well,
off
Battlefield
A
5.
lot of
Battlefield
thoughts
5
about
looks
Anthem.
great.
big. It does look great,
Yeah.
but I believe the one that we all want to talk about is Anthem.
Battlefield
I think
5.
we should start off with that, and I want to hear Kristen's thoughts. This is the juicy bits that I've been.
Devin has
waiting
been waiting for this all week.
I want to get
Yes.
so excited about Anthem, but it's like, it's like you're going shopping for something, and like you get into the store, and like the lights are dim, and they won't let you get close to it, but you can kind of see it, and then it's like, all right, now get out of the store, don't come back.
We're closed.
Yeah, we're closed. It's over. Like you've seen all you're gonna see, and I'm like, I
Well,
I want to believe so badly in like the random loot drops and the jetpack and how people rave about the jetpack and all the different javelins. And like when they say things like, yeah, you can switch javelins on the fly, and I'm like, that's nice, but how would that work out in like a questing or a raid situation? I can just randomly change in between
well,
bosses.
I don't think it's change on the fly like you're walking and then all of a sudden the parts come in. I think you have to like go to your city
Yeah.
hub or whatever the main area is, and then you
Which would make more
switch.
sense.
I think it's kind of like almost like a WoW, or not even like a WoW, but you have to switch your specialization at the main hub.
Yeah. And like if it's gonna be on consoles, what's the game gonna look like on console, and what's the open world gonna look like on console? Because that game is going to be massive. Just insane. It's gonna be incredibly taxing.
definitely-
It's gonna be enormous.
You're definitely going to need like Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, or even the Scorpio if it's out at that time.
They found a way to get Kingdom Come Deliverance to at least run in some capacity on consoles, so maybe Anthem has a
True.
chance.
True point. Though I would say to Anthem, even over, and I don't expect it to be a benchmark more than Kingdom Come Deliverance, but the way they're designing the world map, so it's going to be like the city, an undergrowth segment, and underwater. That's insane. How's an Xbox, like any Xbox, just going to sit there and like cry for an hour? Like Xbox is like Steam might come out of your Xbox.
Yeah. It's the Steam machine. The long fabled Steam machine.
Like, oh, it's
The
just gonna be
Steam machine. Sorry, that
absolutely
took a second.
brutal.
I'm glad somebody got it.
I got it.
And,
Yeah.
I'm excited for. I'm excited for it in the sense I wasn't really a big Destiny player. I tried the first one a little bit. I played the beta of the second one. My biggest hesitancy, and I think I told Christian this once Destiny launched, was it looks fun, but my big question is there gonna be end game content? Once I hit max level and do the first raid or two, what else do I do? And that's always my biggest thing.
Here's the thing. You point out a big point about Anthem. You know what they've said about that? Nothing.
Exactly. That is one question that I have.
Nothing.
And one other question.
Content plans.
One other flag that was brought up to me that I am concerned about with the game. As much I'm genuinely looking forward to it. I went into this having zero interest in playing the game, and I left with a lot of interest playing the game. My one question is they're not gonna have PvP available at launch with the game.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. When you get all geared up and you're done with the raids and everything, then.
But they did say at launch, so that could be 2 weeks after it launches. It comes out. It could be a month. So
that's
and they
the
say
same
that.
thing with the raid.
But that's even more concerning because they say, it won't be available at launch. Well, do you know what the PvP is actually going to be right now? Are you making maps? What is the delay on the PvP timeline? Because that game's going to come out PvE only.
It's understandable for the raids to not be available because that's the way it is with Destiny.
I get that entirely.
That's the way it is with most MMOs too, where the raids become available 1 or 2 weeks out. But the PvP is like usually
not half the game.
Not a direct comparison, but I will say back in the day when World of Warcraft launched, it also did not launch with PvP, and a lot of people were upset about that.
But that was in 2004.
Yeah. It was.
That was a long time ago.
Look what that turned into.
Paul, strong. Yes, sir.
Give us your thoughts on the new FIFA title from EA.
Moving on.
Cool. I guess like if you like soccer, it's your jam, man.
Paul and I were watching that, and he jumped out his chair when they showed off the new FIFA.
Man, I was the prettiest and happiest boy at the dance. Oh
Yep.
gosh.
Yeah.
Isn't it free or something? What was that? Didn't they say something? I don't even know.
They did also show off a new map and new content for Battlefield. Too little, too late, or a nice gesture?
Oh, Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. I feel like it is a little bit too late. That guy Dennis had the hardest job in E3. Like I swear, because oh man, that must have been so difficult to go.
He was basically that meme guy from South Park, though. We're sorry.
We're
sorry.
Yeah, because they addressed it at the beginning very quickly. He made a joke about Stockholm syndrome, and then he even said like, "Okay, we came up with the game, and clearly we did stuff wrong." Like it's great that they have content coming out for it. I feel like it was content that was always in the works anyway because they just knew that this was going to be the plan, like DLC. You know, they're not going to change their loot system thing. That's just how they make all their money. You know, if people complained and they're still going to continue to make money, which means nothing's going to change. And that's crappy. You know, I'd like for there to be some sort of standard across video games when it comes to loot boxes.
I did see a lot just generally as a whole across all of E3 that a lot of publishers actually like DLC and loot crates have somewhat become like taboo this year. A lot of them made sure they made the mention of like, oh, we're not doing loot boxes. That's not our kind of game. We want a game that rewards you for playing, etc., etc. And that was a very strong sentiment.
Yeah, they say that. That's the thing,
They say
and it is a good
Yeah.
sentiment. It's nice that they're acknowledging it. I'd
Yeah.
like to see them back
Well,
it up.
unless it changes, they're on the record of saying
See-
with several games. I can't think of off the top of my head which ones, but several
Yeah.
major games saying we're not doing any. Either they're not doing loot boxes, or the loot boxes are similar to Overwatch and they're going to be purely cosmetic items.
I'm okay with loot boxes being purely cosmetic. I am a-okay with that.
But that's what concerns me about Anthem. To bring it back, is there's like.
I think they did. I think
It's
they did
gonna
say
be in
there is
there.
no. I'm almost positive they claimed there is no. You cannot purchase upgrades or armor and it's purely cosmetic. That you can do.
I'm still concerned.
Anything else from E3 that tickled our fancies?
I think
From
that about
EA.
wraps it up.
What did I
Yeah,
say?
but
I said
I think we
E3.
got
I'm sorry.
E3,
I meant
It's
EA,
okay.
excuse me. All right, so why don't we move on to our next topic, or our next press conference, and that's Xbox. I'm first things first, super upset that they didn't utilize all those Xboxes that they had set up. I
was
play a game of
genuinely
PUBG in the
confused.
background.
On the stage, they had like 100 PCs or Xboxes set up with screens,
Same thing. It's fine.
and it was just the impression like, oh, they're gonna do something really cool. They're gonna demo like a massive Sea of Thieves raid or something cool.
We thought
Nothing.
it was
Like
going
a
to
new
be
Battle
a
Royale
Halo
game.
Battle Royale.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Brian and I thought it was going to be a Halo
We
Battle
thought it was
Royale.
gonna be a Halo Battle Royale, and they called people on stage, or they had
Yeah,
people
or
come
they
out
had
and they did a
people
live demo
Yeah.
of it. But
Instead, it's just Halo Infinite, whatever that is.
I will
Which
say that trailer was beautiful, though. I like
trailer
that
was
trailer.
beautiful. I do not understand. I do not understand why Microsoft or whoever is in charge does not put the Master Chief Collection on PC. I'm taking this moment on my
Here,
soapbox
here.
here to say, do it.
No
I
idea.
will spend $100 right now.
My
Don't say
my
that.
guess with it, and this is completely purely speculative. My guess with it is because the game was made by Bungie for the first several games, and they might not. It might be a rights issue to publish it on PC, and that's something they have for console, and they licensed it from them for console, but they can't port it to a PC version. That would be my guess.
That makes sense.
I would not be surprised if that would have answered all these questions.
Yeah. Also,
Well, anyway.
Xbox, by far, my opinion, the biggest troll of E3 with that Gears of War pop figure game.
Can we just
So-
forget
Yeah.
about that?
I think they did that in the complete wrong order. They showed the Gears of War logo on screen, people go ballistic, and then the pop figures come out, and there was not a single person applauding. That was the only press conference of all of E3 where not a single person applauded, and you could just feel the anger, like, we just got trolled. And they're like, but wait, there's a Gears of War strategy game, and they're like, and
Which looks
everyone, it looks good, but people still had a piss off taste in their mouth, and then they finally did the reveal of the new Gears of War, and people were excited, but it seemed like they still had a bitter taste in their mouth.
All right.
Christian,
Before
you love
before we
XCOM.
get
How
to
could you not
Gears
like
of War
that Gears of War
5,
game?
before we get to Gears of War 5,
We're already there.
quick question for anyone: did any of you play Halo Wars? The answer is probably
Yes.
no.
I think I did a demo
I
or a beta.
played
Okay.
the whole
Now,
shit
because
out of
Devin's a
Halo
good
Wars.
person. Now, for you two, if the answer is no,
No.
what does it matter?
Wait.
What does it matter? It's just Halo
No,
Wars
Halo-
again.
No. It's not Halo Wars. It plays like XCOM.
I know, it's
Halo Wars is an
confused.
RTS.
Yeah, it's more of a turn-based XCOM game.
Yeah, it's a turn-based strategy game. It looks like.
You know what plays like XCOM and is good? XCOM.
Yeah, but it's like there can be good games in the same genre. You don't have to stick with just one good game.
That's correct. But I can either trust the people who, make questionable decisions, or the people who make XCOM.
Well, who's developing this game? Is it the same developer, or is
Oh,
it just?
no.
Is
We
it
have no
different
idea.
developer? Yeah.
No idea.
Also, this on our little Patchwork TV was Horizons, Forza Horizons, which looks really good. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of racing games.
Yes,
but
but I'm not
I
a
hate
fun.
racing games, and
looks
that game
good.
looked fun.
That game looks a lot of fun.
Of the clearly faked demo that they did on screen, where they're interweaving and perfectly dodging the other cars. Like they didn't do that 100 times.
Get used to fake demos.
It's like the Anthem one with
Whatever.
the stupid fake communications back and forth. Actors. Like,
and
plays video games that way.
And
they got a nice loot drop at the end.
The Ubisoft had a horrible fake demo with and they tried to have a girl there to make it like cooler or something to do the voice, and she's like, "Hey, you get that guy over there?" Lol. And we're just like,
I'll get him.
Man.
It was awful. It was just awful.
Also, they demoed some Sea of Thieves content, some new expansions, and they were showing some different realms and stuff. And my biggest question coming out of that is, Sea of Thieves was a very fun game at the beginning, but I think everyone can agree saying it's a bit of a content drought is an understatement. So with all these expansions, I believe they showed 2 expansions. With the 2 expansions that they showed, are those expansions populating the current world with content, or because it kind of looked like it was creating almost additional territories? And if it's an additional territory, I think it's a misstep, because they didn't even populate the current area they have, and you should kind of fill that up before you start going on to new areas.
I think they could make it work if they adjust the density of ships in each map, because there's a limit to how many players you could run into, and it feels very low right now, which is good sometimes, but it's also like, I don't want to play 6 hours by myself.
Yeah,
Sea of Thieves, not Sea of Crates.
Me.
Yeah, just Sea of Me. You actually want to run into someone else. So I hope they, because I love that game, and I would love it if they could work that out. That game is a lot of fun when it's like working.
Any thoughts on We Happy Few?
Yes.
No.
So I've been
interested
in this game for a while. And I was super interested in getting into it when it was in early access. I think it might even still be in early access. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember watching gameplay videos, and the game, like the concept of the game was there, but it was such an early access game that it was really just kind of like playing through the world and doing trivial things.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes the people would notice you and you'd have to like run away and hide and try and blend in. It didn't look really deep. This trailer that they showed, which was just playing on the little TV, was really made me feel that there's a developed world and story that's going to be in this game. It's not just going to be like some silly sort of survival kind of like escape the level sort of game. It seems like there's going to be a cool story. It seems like there's going to be some struggles. I'm sure there'll be some sort of dystopian overlord too in some capacity, giving everybody drugs. But but anyway, it looks really good. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. My only concern was in an interview, they were talking about how the game is super relatable and it reflects modern times and things like that. My only concern is if they start getting really heavy-handed politically. That's just I don't want politics in my games. I just want to play games.
Just want to play games, baby.
Yeah. Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it's playing right now. I just want to say, Devil May Cry. Anybody watching right now who doesn't know who Cody Rhodes is, Rhodes.
You Bing him right now.
Bing him right now, because they modeled Devil May Cry after Cody Rhodes. I kid you not. It looks just like.
Or did Cody Rhodes model himself off of a futuristic short-haired? No.
Dante.
I think you're right, Brian.
Battletoads.
Battletoads surprised.
That was surprising.
Yeah, I was kind of hyped for that. That's like really cool. Whatever they're doing.
Keep the train moving.
That's not actually too surprising though, because they had one of the Battletoads in Killer Instinct as a playable fighter.
Yeah.
Oh really?
I did not know
that.
That's true.
That's cool. But I gotta hand it to Xbox. They and we should move on after this because we're taking up a lot of time. But they had a lot to show. Xbox. They had a lot. They showcased 50 different things.
Yeah,
and
a lot of it was good.
A lot of it was good. A lot of it was
Yeah.
also filler. A lot of it seemed like little
A lot of
arcade
it was little
games, but
indie games.
a lot of it was
Studio
indie games, but there's a
acquisitions
market for those, and some of
were
them
awesome.
can be very good and kind of transcend that indie game and become like a big game. So anyway, I'm just happy that they brought a lot to the table. I feel like Xbox
And
needs a lot.
I want to add, I referenced it earlier, but they definitely had ringers in the audience and plants because they were hyping up like the new studio acquisitions. And there was one that was so blatant. There was
People
one
were just
specific guy
screaming
towards the
for it,
front
yeah.
that would just scream and lose his mind. Literally, the announcement was, I forget the name of the studio, but they're like, it was something along the lines of like, we're excited to announce that we are creating a brand new studio called Transcendence Gaming, and we're going to produce brand new games. And this guy, like, that there was no, they didn't even say what genre, let alone what actual kind of game they're going to make or who's involved. They literally said, introducing Transcendence Gaming. Whoa!
Yeah.
He was ready. He was ready for
he
Transcendence.
was so that plant was.
Oh man.
He was so excited for that.
I'm excited
Alright.
about the studio acquisitions, though. Hopefully
Yeah,
they'll-
that will be cool. It'll be exciting to see what they bring next year.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Sony.
Choo choo.
What can we talk about Sony?
Oh my
outside
God,
of-
really
Last of Us
Yeah.
looks amazing. Super good.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog gets my applause.
You naughty dog, you.
I can't wait for that game to come out. The first one was phenomenal. This one's going to be even more phenomenal.
Yep.
Ellie looks amazing.
That's my favorite game of all time, the first one. And so I can't wait for the second one. Um,
I finished my burrito.
nice. Small side note, there's a funny interview on IGN with the voice, with the mocap actors and voice actors for Ellie and her girlfriend, and they were talking about how they motion captured the kiss, but they couldn't actually. They practiced kissing, going into the scene, so it wouldn't be like awkward or weird or anything when they did it for the first time. But their mocap suits, the suits actually have like cameras and these all the like tracking dots, and they actually go out like a foot in front of their face, so they had to like completely redo the way they did the kiss because they would lean in for a kiss and then the things would just like connect and then they would get stuck on each other and they'd be like, oh, they couldn't get apart.
It's like getting your braces stuck to another person's
basically, yeah. So they had to basically lean in like they're going for a kiss, and then they'd be like a foot and a half apart from one another, and then they were told to basically just start miming the kiss. So they'd just be like this, and they're like, I know it's weird, but just make the kissy motions, just make out with the air, because even if we get 20% of that fake kissing, it'll be a lot easier.
Nothing makes me
That was
more
the funniest
self-conscious about myself than kissing the air and like trying to make
thing.
out with
make
the
out
air.
with it.
Yeah, like
Weird.
Especially in a
I feel
mocap
like-
suit.
I feel so uncomfortable.
Sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Let's see you do it right now, Paul.
Oh, don't do that.
How do you guys
Stop. Just stop. No.
How do you guys
We
kiss?
don't
Putting up a
need
sensitive
our cringy
Nobody
moment.
wants to see that.
Let's
I
keep it
did it.
cringe free.
When I
Oh,
French kiss
God.
someone, I just shove my tongue like as hard as I can.
Yep. That's an Irish kiss.
That's what I call that's what I call an Irish kiss.
That is a accurate
Yeah,
representation
drunk
of
is,
Shirley
all
Preston.
your motor
It's
skills.
very spicy.
Are we still talking about Xbox? We've been on for a while.
Sony.
No,
Oh, we're on
this is-
Sony. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't stop the clock and restart. Whoops.
Well, you should do that now.
So
Throw that out
so
there.
I think with Sony, I think they had a very good idea with making it, rather than just rotating and bringing these people out to talk about the game, they just showed the gameplay. And they as they said, a PlayStation experience, and you're like being immersed around the game. I really love that in theory, but in execution it was a little awkward at times. Whereas I feel like if it that was almost like a good trial run, and if they go ahead and do that again next year, I think hopefully they can kind of work out the kinks and make it a little more fluid. Specifically that downtime between. It was very confusing as a viewer to watch with the Last of Us segment. They just brought out the musician with no introduction, and they were in a barn for some reason. Made no mention.
Oh,
really.
I know why they're in
what
that
was
barn.
going on. Oh yeah, because it's the first scene for the Last of Us.
Yeah.
But at watching that as a viewer, when you're expecting the regular kind of stadium seating and everything, and you're like, what did they get? Like, what did the thing have? The place have rats or need to get fumigated or something? They needed to put up a tent last minute. It was very confusing. And then the musician just comes out for The Last of Us, and he's wearing like all black. He looks like he's doubling as the stage manager behind stage, and he has a hoodie over his head. It was a little confusing. It was awesome when they revealed that was the setting for The Last of Us, though.
I will say, and I don't, because I forgot a game like this before, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm going to say that right, but that game, like, I'm like, man, I am considering getting a PlayStation. It looks really good.
Yeah, and another one, that one,
I was very happy about it.
Subject of musicians, that guy playing the flute.
I loved how they had the white. They had the whitest guy possible playing that music too.
Yeah, like he was good at it, and I was just like, man.
He's wearing the full Japanese garb and everything, and then soon they're like, wow, that guy's.
And then he even bowed before he exited off stage.
Yep.
All of Los Angeles County. That's the guy they chose.
Yep.
I'm excited for what's it called? Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man will be a fun game.
I want to see more gameplay. The setup's great. Can they nail the execution, or else it's going to be another game you play for 5 minutes and regret?
They do have a lot of gameplay because it was available on the demo floor. There's a lot of gameplay online you could see.
As much as possible.
Well, they opened all of New York City that you can go around and traverse around.
The whole city?
Yeah.
Like all of Manhattan?
That's the demo. It's literally the entirety of the city.
Wow. Did not realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah, when they showed it off last year, I wasn't really too excited, especially since, it was the end. So I was expecting something a bit better. But after seeing the gameplay trailer this year, I can definitely say that now I'm a believer and I am excited.
You saw his face, and now you're a believer.
And now he's a believer. He saw Justin Bieber's face.
I also, Sony had, outside of Bethesda, they had my most hyped surprise reveal, and that was the remake of Resident Evil 2.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I saw, I really loved the way they did the trailer at the point of view of the rat, and then I saw the zombie falls to the ground getting shot, and then they just show the silhouette of Leon, and I was like, oh my god, it's Leon! And I was like, and I just instantly, Resident Evil 2 remake, boom! Oh.
Let's all talk about Let's talk about Death Stranding.
Oh my goodness.
Backpack Simulator.
AKA game that's never going to come out. Just throw it on the heap.
It's amazing how this trailer came out and showed a lot and just posed for everything that it answered, which wasn't much. It just posed 10 more questions for everything.
Did it come with a playable demo? I don't.
No, it was just the trailer.
Of course. Like, games that are, like, next year they might show up with a demo level, and then a year after that they'll show up with the real demo.
There was like 2 straight minutes of literally just showing Norman Reedus backpacking with, like, a refrigerator on his back, and, like, just backpack upon backpack upon backpack upon backpack.
Drop it.
Luis Vega, thank you for the follow. Follow height.
But seriously, I wish they had just kept all of Death Stranding and they just kept it to themselves until the game was in a state where we could actually see something, instead of telling us last year and then announcing the logo and the ridiculous circus they've had around. Just let them develop it in silent. When he actually has something, tell people about it instead of parading Norman Reedus around like he's going to be.
I don't know, like. Normally, I agree 100% with I think it's not good to, because Norman Reedus. I mean, Hideo Kojima does his trailers in a way that it makes you ask so many questions, and you're just drawn to it. You're just talking, what could this be and what could that be? And I think he trickles it out in a way where I think personally he's the one exception in my book for announcing things too early, just because it's so out there. And I think we did see that little like taste of gameplay where it showed.
Don't call that a taste of gameplay. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I rather it showed
Zero
a taste.
gameplay was shown. Zero.
It showed more of a taste of somewhat what to expect as far as like the monsters. Of course, for what it answered, it posed 10 more questions. He plugged a baby into a baby chamber, and then that thing started flashing. It was like bop, 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 bop. And it would like flash, and I feel like that's and it would like show the silhouettes of those monsters, and I think that's really creepy, and I think it could be.
We all have to realize that could all be pre-rendered footage, and is definitely not a demo, and we shouldn't take anything from that. All right, that's my problem.
It looks like
a
demo, like it wasn't a cinematic angle.
No. Because it could, the way it's being presented and the footage that was shown, I'm like, this is a game that's going to get crushed under the weight of a million other FPS games. Like, you know what's going to crush that game to death? Like Anthem, Rage 2, The Division 2, Destiny 2. Like, it's going to be at the bottom.
But by the time that game comes, by the time Death Stranding comes out, those games will more than likely be like
Anthem 2 could come out by the time Death Stranding comes out. Let's be honest.
I'm excited for Anthem 2.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But I mean, I would say though it is a different genre though. It's like a horror. It's a survival horror-ish game.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a genre, because he doesn't like genres, so he just does whatever he wants.
Hideo Kojima is a genre.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like
That's
best Hideo, right, like we should give an award for best Hideo Kojima style game.
You're encouraging this behavior. He's going to show up next year with one playable level that's going to take all of 10 minutes, and only like 3 reporters are going to play it. They're all going to say the kindest things they possibly can. Like, it's just going to keep going. It's going to be an absolute circus, and no one else should get that much leeway. Like, no, you don't have to show us anything about the game. Here's all of the money. All of the money. Just burn it. Do whatever you want.
Do we want to move on from Sony and move on to what I love always, and that's Nintendo?
Yes.
Don't copyright strike us, please, Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo, we only want to be your friend.
They only want to be your friend.
Reals.
I love you, Nintendo.
They love you, Nintendo.
They all love you.
They all love you.
Paul and I have Switches.
Yes.
We support you.
We're support. Yeah,
I got it launched.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yes, we
I
were
didn't get a
launch day
I
Switch owners.
I didn't get a launch day. I got it week of.
And
I got
what I
a
will
launch
say,
day Toys R Us that had a whole mess of them. I just walked in.
I don't think they shot for the moon. I think they had a low trajectory, and they're like, "That's what we're going to hit this year."
Yeah,
and
well,
it was
also
great.
Nintendo, they've never been huge into E3. They've always done their like seasonal Nintendo Directs whenever they do them, and that's when they put all their stuff out.
Actually, though, do you know why they stopped doing live stage broadcasts?
No.
Because
at E3.
Yeah, they stopped doing them because Iwata, who was the president who passed away a few years ago, they were scheduled to do the annual Nintendo press conference, and like 2 days before it was canceled because Iwata became ill, and they couldn't do the presentation without him. So then they wound up doing what is now Nintendo Direct, and that's actually how the Nintendo Direct started. And then since then, like the next couple of years, Iwata was also in and out of the hospital, and he was ill, and so they just, to keep it safe, because he's very good and very charismatic on stage, in addition to Reggie. But and then they wound up, with their constant effort to always be different than the Xbox and PlayStation, they decided to just completely control everything with their presentation a little tighter and make it more exciting, and that's how the Treehorse was born.
Well, that's good. I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting, actually. But yeah, I like the Nintendo Direct. They definitely were safe. They didn't shoot for the moon. I agree with that.
100% agreed.
I think they knew what they had, that they could be like, okay, here's the things that we can announce that people are going to go crazy for. Obviously, Smash was
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem, new Mario Party. I love the Mario Party games.
That Mario Party looks amazing. I'm happy they went back to the everyone moves around individually, not like the last Mario Party where we're all together.
Yes, agreed. And I think it was a good event. I think Smash looks great. Mario Party looks great.
Yeah.
In the Ubisoft press event, they also covered some stuff about Kingdom Come. No, not Kingdom Come. What's that Mario game with the rabbits?
Oh,
Super Mario
Rabbids.
Yeah, the new.
Not Raving Rabbids. That game.
Yeah, love Nintendo.
And that one, space game had Star Fox in it. So it was really
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
It was a great gift for Nintendo.
Yeah. I'm excited for Smash though. You get every single character, which I was like.
And Ridley.
And I'm sure there will be a few more new characters that they add too, because I feel like they kind of have to. But as I was watching the announcement, I was thinking like, it kind of makes sense. There's only so many marquee Nintendo characters outside of like all the Pokemon that people love. There's only so many that exist, and they've already gotten the big ones. They'd be really stretching to get more characters from the Nintendo umbrella.
When I was watching it initially, I was like, "Oh, this is cool," but these are all characters I've seen before. As good it is to get all those characters back, I did want a couple more, but then they showed Ridley at the end. I was like, I'm good with that, and they did have a couple. So by the end, I was good with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be more. And I don't think many. I think they might.
I have the perfect new edition character for you.
Who is it?
A character from Fortnite with the pickaxe.
That would
cool. Actually, I can see that. That would be work.
Don't encourage them.
Come on.
That could actually work. No, Brian's right. Brian has a point. I didn't even think about that. That's actually a good idea.
With the build, how great would that be?
Fortnite
with building
on the Switch,
stuff.
That's great.
Yeah. It makes too much sense not to happen. Nintendo, we're giving you ideas. You can't copyright strike us.
Give us all extra Switches so we can play more of your games.
This is gonna be the year I get my Switch, guys.
Definitely. And
speaking of which, have you tried Fortnite yet on Switch, Paul?
I have not. Have you?
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to download it.
At first I was like, man, these controls kind of suck or whatever, and you can't build as fast, of course, and whatever. But after playing a few more games, I got used to it, and it's just a lot of fun. People are very bad at shooting though, because the Switch controls, they are very bad. You can tell. This one guy was shooting his rifle at me, and then he stopped. And then he turned.
Is that guy
like he was trying to keyboard turn. And then I just shotgunned him in the face. I was still jumping around, shotgunning him in the face.
I'd also imagine that the average Nintendo fan and Switch owner isn't necessarily the
most hardcore
type.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just like the people who play Fortnite on mobile. It's fine. You can just play a different version of the game. It's like different flavors of ice cream.
I do think it's kind of funny. Like Nintendo is actually taking digs at Sony today in some interviews because they don't allow. They're the only ones that are withholding Fortnite for cross-platform play, and they're like, we put the players first.
And also, I was reading the Fortnite subreddit, and this is an actual thing. If you played Fortnite on the PS4,
you can't.
You can't play on the Switch.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Well, no, so you can't use the same account.
Epic Games account.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to make it.
It's not cross-platform, whereas everything else is. But the thing is, of this console generation, PlayStation is vastly far ahead over Xbox, and Nintendo's always doing their own thing, but they're vastly ahead of everyone else. So on PlayStation's part, it honestly doesn't make. Why would they do something that benefits Xbox, where it would encourage players who are currently playing on PS4 to like, oh, let me try this out on the Switch now. No. They're the big dogs on campus. They don't have to appease and help out the other guys.
True, but not being able to use that account for other platforms is kind of a low blow, especially for
that's kind of low.
Especially when you make a skin, an exclusive skin. It's like, of course, people are going to log on to claim that exclusive skin. But then now they can't use that account on other systems. Like, I understand the crossplay. I just don't understand the account usage.
Seems
the account. It almost seems like they're overstepping their bounds.
It does in a sense, but being the number one guy, that's what you can do.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm with you, Brian. I get it, and I totally understand the cross-platform thing too. Like from a business standpoint, that makes sense. But to have another company's account not be valid on a totally independent device that you also own and paid your good money for, and that really this other company, Sony, should have no real say over whether or not my other account associated with a different company is allowed to be used on a different device that I own. I think that's kind of overstepping their bounds.
I'm not saying it's nice. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying nice. They shouldn't by any means. But business-wise, they have no reason to.
Oh, but yeah, business-wise it makes sense. But it's like how much money would they really be losing out on by not letting people log into their Fortnite account?
You're helping people play on the competitors' console.
Listen,
but I think that's honestly part of why Nintendo and Microsoft are doing that, is because traditionally most games are not cross-platform between multiple consoles. But I think that's part of the reason why they are doing that, is because they're trying to show they create almost a unified front and say, come play it on our systems, not on PlayStation. They're mean.
And they have a plan B, whereas Sony's all PS4.
Yeah.
There's no other choices. There's no other options. They're not going to transition to something else. They are all in on that thing.
Yeah. Also, did you guys see any of the details on the new Mario Party?
Not really, no.
I was watching something today, and a really cool thing they're adding is you can get allies. So so each character, before getting to allies, each character has their own special unique dice, and you could use it at any time, and it's risk reward. For instance, Bowser has a Bowser die he can roll instead of the regular die, and it only has 2 numbers. It has 1 and it has 10. So you kind of have to risk reward, but that could also be really good if you need to go try to get 1 space. But then also when you land on certain tiles, you unlock allies, and the allies will give you their die to use. And then not only will the allies give you their die to use, but when you play mini games, those allies will periodically show up and throw you little items or things to help you out while you do the mini games. Nice. I thought that was really cool.
That is very cool.
I like that.
I love Mario Party. Mario Party is a game that I really enjoy, and it's so good with to have friends over and something to play. So I'm really excited for that. I'm also excited for Pokemon Pikachu, Pokemon Go, whatever it's called, Eevee Go. Pikachu
Let's go Pikachu! Let's go Pikachu!
Excited. I'm very excited. I'm happy to know that there's going to be a lot more new features in the actual Generation 8 Pokemon game that's coming out. Because as much as I do want to just disagree with Brian almost completely on everything on this topic, I think a lot of what he says, it can be justified and does have validation. I don't think the game would be any less fun, but I'm very excited to see what's going to come in 2019.
I'm very much looking forward to that. I will say my opinion has grown on the game. You'll be happy to know
that you're looking forward to it a little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah. Like I said, I think the online was a deal breaker, but they showed it has online, even at its most basic functions. It's there, and I think that's, I think that's a good move to be able to play against your friends online. And actually, fun little note, you know how you don't even have to go through the friend codes, even to do local play. What you do is, so say I'm playing against you, Paul. We're in the same room. You pull up a little thing, it'll actually be a little combination of the basic Pokemon. So I'm like, oh, hey, if you want to play against me, Paul, the combination's Pikachu, Charmander, Charmander. And then you select those, and then we're just automatically paired up and we play. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. That is very cool.
I'm both more okay and more hesitant at the same time with the lack of... you catch Pokemon in the same way you do in Pokemon Go, where you throw the balls at them and stuff. You don't actually battle and train and try to lower their HP. And it looked a little more fluid than I thought it would have been. But my question is, and this goes to all of you, if you take out the element in that game of Pokemon of being able to, go around and battle against other Pokemon in the wild, and actually the challenge of, not killing them, but lowering their HP and finding that high-level Pokemon, does that number one, take away a bit from what makes Pokemon? And number two, is that a lot of content as far as time that you play through and enjoyment that would be removed out of that? Now, I don't know the answer, so I leave that open to you guys.
Well,
One,
yeah, I'll let
yes.
you go.
Two, no. Because after the first couple of hours in the game, just it's very easy for me. I've played a lot of the Pokemon games. When you're starting out the game, it's great. You want to do all the fights, I want to catch all the stuff. It's difficult, it's challenging, that's great. Later on in the game, it's needless. It's just tedious. I have to find a Pokemon that won't immediately kill the wild one, and then I have to weaken it, and then I have to sit here and waste Pokeballs for like 3 hours. I'm like, oh hey, I got it. Great. Now I have to go train it because it's underleveled, has terrible attacks, and is wasting my time.
Well, I mean, you're still gonna have to train it. You're still going to have to level them up. You're still going to have to battle, but you're just not going to have the option of doing it.
Catching is annoying, so I'm okay with that.
I mean, catching is part of the fun of Pokemon, but I think what they're doing with this Pokemon is this Pokemon game that is, they might be doing things a little bit differently. If I'm understanding your question correctly, Brian, they might be doing things a little bit differently, but I think, and Brian and I have talked about this before, I think that it's its own game. I think it's doing its own thing within the Pokemon universe and is just taking some creative liberties to, just try something new, integrate with Pokemon Go, which is still, like, not as many people play it as when it first started. That also, when it first started, it was so popular that it was making like national news. Like it was a phenomenon. So like obviously there was a huge spike and a huge downfall, but it balanced out at a very reasonable, respectable amount of consistent players.
Also, this question also goes out to the chat. What do you guys think? Do you guys think not being able to battle Pokemon in the wild takes away from the game of Pokemon at all? Do you think it's a welcome addition? You get tired of doing that, as Christian does.
I like catching Pokemon. That's half the fun. But I totally understand the whole like, oh man, I just want to catch this Pokemon I don't have, but the only Pokemon I have will kill it.
Yeah.
I see you guys like throwing around.
Totally check the chat.
Just right. I agree with him.
Salt.
And also, right. I wonder if it would make the catching of the Pokemon a little bit more boring. Or, as Christian said, it might be more exciting.
It's exciting now because you do this.
Also, I think it's worth mentioning, talking about the Pokeball Plus edition. So with that, it's either $50 standalone, or you can get the game for $60. You can get the game plus the Pokeball Plus for $100. So you get $10 savings on that. You get a copy. You get a free Mew, and that's the only way to obtain Mew is through buying that Pokeball Plus. And basically you play the whole game because it's just a joystick, and you could also push the joystick and it lights up, and it also interacts with your Pokemon Go device. Thoughts on that?
Your phone, right? You mean?
No, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I'm probably going to get it anyway.
Part of the problem,
Christian. You don't need it.
The thing is, I'm not proud of it. I'm part of the problem.
Well, we talked yesterday about this a little bit, and I think Brian had a good point, and that was about the price of the device. And if it was just a way to get Mew and kind of like a glorified amiibo, I would have been like, okay, that's not fair. But it does have practical integration with a game that people do enjoy, whether it's on your mobile device or what's going to be on your Switch. And I think there will be a market for it, and people love Pokemon, and people like.
Oh, it'll sell out like crazy.
If you're gonna spend $50 on something game related, better you get a use out of it than it just sitting on your shelf. Yeah, so it's like. If people can use it and they like it and it's also a collectible, I'm kind of okay with it. I think it's unnecessary. I'm not going to buy it. I don't need it.
And when we battle, I will use Mew against you.
Oh,
to me, I do, and I mean, the Nintendo is almost always like they make a console, release their first party games, and then they just put out the wackiest and weirdest peripherals you can possibly come with. That's kind of their MO.
Yeah.
I do think for this one, I think $50 is a bit steep for the device. I would have liked to see that. I mean, honestly, I think it should be a $15 to $20 price point, but with Nintendo's, I think a $30 price point would have been a lot more fair and affordable. But and it's fine. People want to pay $50. I mean, you could charge $100 for that thing, and people would still buy it. People will throw money at anything Pokemon related, and for the the dream of being a real life Pokemon master and living that fantasy. But the issue I have with it is locking a character that you can only obtain by spending $50 on the device. That is where I kind of find an issue with that.
I see what you're saying, but I guess my only caveat to that would be, like, if you have an issue with that, you'd have to have an issue with all other DLC in existence. Because all the other DLC is the same, where it's just like, oh, you want this content, you got to pay for it, and other people who don't want to pay for it won't have it.
Like, use like the original DLC. Like, you never got it in the game. It was always something special. Like, wait, you can't be surprised now. Like,
I don't know.
As well,
I think it is. I think it is content, though. I mean, it'll be like one of the strongest, if not the strongest, Pokemon, and I think also, I mean, Mew is.
Technically, but not in the game.
In kayfabe.
Yeah, kayfabe.
For those who know, in kayfabe, he is the most powerful.
But I do think it also gives a bit of a competitive advantage. Not that this game is going to be competitive, but I would have liked it to be. Mew is near impossible. It's super, super, super difficult to catch. But if you wanna, an easy shortcut, pay $50, get the Pokeball. I would have.
See, they already have a Pokemon like that. That's how you catch Chansey, and Mew's always been DLC, so I'm okay with it. It's not good. I want to agree with you, but I'm gonna buy the Pokeball. I'm gonna use Mew. It's what's gonna happen.
He's gonna use it to beat us. Is what he's telling us.
That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, Christian.
Like, it's just.
Nintendo has you by the wallet.
They have me by the wallet. I bought.
They
what
got
did
me.
I buy? Fucking Bomberman. I bought Bomberman.
Oh, wow, how could you?
Because the Switch just came out, and all I had was Zelda, and Zelda was great. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, oh, this could be fun. I like Bomberman. I'm like, it could be a multiplayer game. Oh my god, the single player game has like an in-game currency that you have to get. And
wow.
But you can't buy it. You can only get it by playing. It was so bad. I don't know who greenlit that game. Anyway,
wasn't it by Konami too?
Who knows? It was by a bad person. That's who made that game. A bad person made that game. But we've been talking about Nintendo for a while. In fact,
real quick, Paul, before we segue, Luis Vega says also, hi Luis. If the motion controls add a fun aiming mechanic or mini game, I'm okay with the Pokemon.
That's a good point. Thank you for defending my peripheral.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see all of the online posts of children throwing their Pokeballs through their television set, trying to catch a Pikachu. That's what I'm mostly looking forward to.
Hey, it's better than watching kids fool their parents into buying V-Bucks, okay?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I guess so.
You were saying to move on, Paul.
Yeah.
What do you have in mind next for us?
Oh man, I mean, like right off the top of the dome, I guess like if I had to choose, what would your guys' best game out of E3 be? I think we all know the answer.
Best game is definitely gonna be Fallout 76.
It's easily the game I'm most excited for. That's
it's also
kind of surprised me. I was like,
we know a lot about it, and it just looks very good. And they just basically, like, not everyone, but I can speak for myself, that they quelled my worries.
Yeah. I am excited to just nuke another town. I'm gonna go and steal all of Christian. I'm gonna steal all of Christian and Paul's supplies. I'm gonna run to another town, and then I'm gonna nuke my own town.
Gonna nuke it.
Christian,
you're a monster.
What's your game of the show?
I disagree with all of you, and surprising answer. Drum roll, please. Not gonna do that. Anthem. And I still have no idea if it's going to be any good.
That is a genuine surprise.
Like, if they offered a pre-order, I might have weekend and gotten one. I can't. It's so enticing. It's honestly like a poisonous plant that's like, don't eat me, you'll die. And I'm like, but you look so pretty.
But you're so pretty, I want to eat
like,
you.
it's so, it's just so seductive. Like, it just looks so good. The combat, graphics, everything about it.
Yeah.
I am intensely attracted to that game.
And it does look like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I know that season pass is going to at least be $50, so you're probably going to buy the game at least twice to play it.
I mean, hey,
when
if
it
you're
comes out.
spending $50 on a Pokeball, I mean,
Totally different. EA has not earned that trust. Nintendo.
fair
They
enough.
have to earn.
I actually changed up my game pick, Paul.
Mhm.
What did you change it to?
I thought I'd throw you a curveball, and I'm gonna have to go with The Last of Us 2.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was heavily gonna say Fallout 76, but just when I was watching that gameplay, especially when they were in the convenience store and they're going through that whole battle, and everything, I genuinely could not tell when it was something user controlled, like a user control input, or if it was switching into a cutscene. That's how fluid the animations and everything. Like, I felt like I was literally watching a cutscene for a large part of the convenience store part, which was not a cutscene. That was person controlled running through, and I've never seen that kind of fluidity, especially with the camera movements and stuff in a game.
I'm glad you picked Last of Us 2.
Yeah,
that's a good choice. That'll be a good
That's a
game.
good choice.
If there was one game I always said, like, once this comes out, I'll have to get a PlayStation 4, and that's The Last of Us 2.
Ooh,
And,
you gonna get the bundle?
It depends on when it comes
PS4
out.
Pro bundle.
PS4 Pro. I already have a computer. I don't know if I get the Pro.
All right.
Anyway,
Moving on now.
All right.
is that everybody's picks for best game?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Alrighty, two Fallout 76s, one Last
Two
of Us 2,
Philadelphia
and one Anthem.
76ers.
The good old Philadelphia 69ers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's,
Golden State.
I made that mistake in middle school, and everyone laughed at me.
They're still laughing at you.
69ers. They're laughing to this day. And oh god,
Yeah.
somewhere in Minnesota. All right, last topic that we're going to go over, fellas, and who won E3? Who's the winner? What developer? What console? Who came out of E3 looking the best?
Of the major press conference. Of the
Of the major press conferences, and we can ask the
Of the
viewers.
major press conferences, I would say Microsoft.
I was
Really?
I was actually just about to
Yeah.
say that it would be a very close tie between Bethesda and Xbox.
Yeah. Microsoft does have a lot of stuff that I'm interested in. Like,
They
I'm
had
very
a
interested
bunch.
in, of course, of Halo. But Crackdown 3 is a game that I've been waiting for a long, long time because I love the Crackdown games. They're so fun and chaotic, and they're just right up my alley.
I thought the trailer was a little underwhelming for Crackdown. It just was Terry Crews. I mean, which is awesome, but it just seemed like Terry Crews just yelling and screaming.
I mean, I already know what to expect mostly from the game because I played the other two. So it's a game that I'm still going to wind up getting. Like, it's still going to be a lot of the same, which I don't have a problem with. Where you just jump around the city as this powerful agent fighting against these gangs in this futuristic city, and all this destruction going on, different weapons, and as you get stronger with your agent, you're going to be jumping around at super high heights and all this stuff, and it's just awesome. It's just awesome fun.
Fantasy. Yeah.
I did see Christian shaking his head
Oh, I did.
at y'all's decisions. So what is yours?
I can't. Bethesda loses points for me for that Elder Scrolls 6 thing. I'm sorry. That game does not exist right now. I do not believe them.
Points?
That does not exist. It's not a real game.
It
That
exists. How did it
it
not?
was. They
how is
could have
that a real
literally
thing?
just labeled that Elder Scrolls fan service. Were there any characters?
You were the
Is there
only
a
person
plot?
I know
there
who
a
is not
setting? Is there a
losing their
release
mind
date?
over that trailer.
That game doesn't exist.
Well,
I'm
see,
sorry.
that's why they call it a teaser.
Yeah.
It was the
A
tease
teaser.
people to show
A
that
teaser.
it's coming.
Yeah.
A teaser of
Just
what?
the fact that they publicly even announced, because until recently they haven't even publicly announced it's in the works yet.
You know what would be fun?
It's
A
going to be
timeline
showed
of-
next year. 100%.
Sure. What game comes out first? Death Stranding, Elder Scrolls 6.
Elder Scrolls 6, 100%.
We'll see. Who knows?
Elder Scrolls 6.
Maybe Death Stranding will show up with a demo in a few years.
So what was your pick?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Oh,
asking
for
what was
E3?
your- Yeah.
I'm sticking with Nintendo. Like,
Really?
for the least amount of things that are just like, hey, this will be nice when it happens. I hate that. Don't show me something that might never come out. Don't show me something that's a fake demo. Just show me games that are going to come out. Like, hey, here's a new Fire Emblem game. You want to play a new Fire Emblem game? That's all I wanted. Show me the Super Smash Bros. Roster. Hey, here's the Super Smash Bros. Roster. Do you like Mario Party? Here's Mario Party in action. That's all I wanted. That was perfect.
One noticeable thing that was missing was Metroid 4, which had a lot of people upset.
True, but... And this is what I like from Nintendo. They don't have to release some stupid 6-second teaser that can just say, hey, by the way, we put Ridley in Super Smash Bros. So if you're going to keep thinking that maybe we're going to do some Metroid stuff, maybe we will, maybe we won't. But we're going to keep speculation up without having to resort to some ridiculous cinematic that has nothing to do with the game.
I will say, with the Bethesda, that is the first time they have ever teased something that's not coming out within the next 1 year. That is the first time they've ever done that, and I think they expertly did that. Which,
Please. I can't. No, I'm sorry. There's no game. It's not a game.
Well, my pick for who won E3 is Bethesda. The Fallout 76 reveal was amazing. I had no interest in Rage at all. I do now. The only thing, honestly, I wasn't interested that they showcased was their what the hell's their digital card game that came out?
Oh,
Heroes of
that one.
I actually forgot about that.
We'll just call it Heroes of Bethesda because I'm forgetting the name of it.
No, it's Elder
Heroes of
Scrolls
Bethesda.
Something, isn't it? Aren't they the ones who make the Elder Scrolls?
Yeah.
One? It's doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
The man just came out and just spouted lies. He's saying, this is the #1 card game.
No, he didn't say that. He said he wants it to be the #1 card game.
No, he said, we're rated as the #1 card game.
That's like having one 5-star review compared to something else that has 200 a bunch of reviews and they have like 4.5, and it's like, we're better than you because we have 5.
Yeah.
See, it's those kinds of things that lose Bethesda points for me.
It did, but that was the only thing I genuinely was. I'm not a huge Doom fan, but I appreciated it.
That was
Doom was cool.
Rage looked really good. I really liked what they teased for. I haven't played Elder Scrolls Online since it really came out. I thought the content looked really good. That was solid content.
And to add on, I don't understand how they could preview real content for Elder Scrolls Online and then undercut that with some Elder Scrolls 6 nonsense.
I think just the complete opposite. Like I was saying
could be playing
earlier,
Elder Scrolls right now.
I was saying the complete opposite, and I think it was the perfect tease with the way that he worded the reveal for their new IP. Also, side note, Quake Champions, which Paul and Devin love. Which we might be playing next week at 9 o'clock if you guys want to tune in for there. And I just think... Oh, and Prey. I had never played Prey, but I actually really wanted to. That looked really creepy and cool. But I think the perfect way he teased, everyone got so hyped, thought he was announcing the new Elder Scrolls game when he announced his new IP. And then, oh yeah, the thing you want... Here it is. It's actually in production, and it was just an announcement that it is in the works.
Production, please.
It's
a storyboard near the bathroom. That's
we'll all place our bets here tonight. That game will be showcased next year, and it will be available next fall.
At best, fake demo.
At most, fake demo.
Death Stranding might come out first. Life goes on.
All right, we'll set that. What comes out first? This goes out to the chat as well as the rest of us. What comes out first, Elder Scrolls 6 or Death Stranding?
See, now, if I actually had to put money on it, I would bet on Elder Scrolls because
so now it changes.
It's not a joke. Because now I want to be serious about it.
Yeah, Kojima
I don't trust Kojima. No.
Kojima takes very long. Very long.
And it's been clear the whole studio's been paid handsomely up front. They're working on somebody's dime because they haven't made anything. They've made nothing.
Fair enough.
Like, come on, who's paying Norman Reedus? All right, they could never come out with that game. They're already getting paid. What does it matter?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So
I have an itchy armpit.
Paul's got an itchy armpit, and
We're
all doing this now.
Oh, everyone just itched those armpits. That about wraps it up for us. With our post E3 coverage. Hope everyone had a beautiful, fantastic E3. Please enjoy staring at Paul and Christian's armpits. I'm not going to join in this. We'll be back.
His camera's working, but his armpits are out.
Yeah, they're definitely out.
Not.
But they are. His microphone's not working either. It definitely is.
Cover that up. Cover that
Guns.
What? I'm right here.
We will be back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. If you haven't already, please make sure you follow the channel. You'll see the greatest ever follower notification with Nigel Thornberry. Spoilers.
Smashing, let me tell you.
It's smashing.
Smashing.
And this has been Patchwork Party. Until next time, I'm Brian.
I'm Paul.
I'm Christian.
And you're still standing by. No, I'm Devin.
All right, and thanks to everyone
Willie P.
watching
Hype.
us.
Willie P.
Willie P. Hype.